One of the most useful strikes in all of self-defense is the palm heel strike, and that's what we're going to work on today. The way a palm heel strike works is that you take the palm of your hand, which is at the very bottom, right where the bone is, and you send that straight into the guy's face. It could come up under his chin, you could smash it straight on his nose, you can come around and hit his orbital bone, you can even come and hit him on the top of the head. The great thing about the palm heel is that if you put your whole body into it, you can generate a tremendous amount of power, but there's very little risk to hurting your hand. When you punch somebody with a closed fist, your finger bones are very small, and if you accidentally hit the top of his head or the side of his head, you could really break your fingers, and that could be a permanent injury for you. So the palm heel allows you to generate a lot of power while protecting your hands. What some people do wrong is they try to hit with the middle part of their hand or their fingers. That's not going to cut it. That's weak. You really want to use the base of your palm right here. So again, whether it comes up, whether it's straight, whether you kind of come down on somebody, you could generate tremendous power without injuring your hand. Now, there are a lot of videos online of people who do this incorrectly, and sometimes they have smaller people demonstrating, sometimes it's women who don't weigh very much, and they kind of just stick their hand out and use the strength of their arm like this. That's not going to do anything. In order for a palm heel to be effective, you have to put your entire body weight behind it. You need to drop your body weight, you need to bend your knees, and you need to turn your hips into that strike. The strength of your arm is not very much compared to the strength of your whole body. So when you practice this, even if you don't have a punching bag or a punching dummy, if you're just practicing in the air, make sure that you drop your weight, you bend your knees, and you practice throwing your hips into the strike, whether it's from the rear or whether it's from your lead hand. If your knees aren't bent, if you're standing too high, you can't generate any power with your hips. It really comes from dropping your base and twisting your hips. That's where all your power comes from, right? That's what makes the palm heel great. The other really great thing about the palm heel is that it's not expected by your opponent. So if someone's getting in your face, you should have your hands up, open like this in a defensive position. You should be saying, hey, back off, leave me alone. Whatever you need to do to let this guy know that you're not interested in fighting and to give you some space. But if he enters your space or if he tries to grab you from right here, from this kind of defensive, neutral, non-threatening position, you just turn your hips and you rotate right into him and you hit him as hard as you possibly can. So you don't have to think about making a fist. You don't have to think about aiming with your top two knuckles. You don't have to think about only focusing on soft targets and not accidentally hitting the hard part of his head. You can strike anywhere. All you have to do is generate lots of power behind it. So I'm here, someone's getting in my face, as hard as you can. Works with the lead hand too, but it takes a little more practice. So from here, someone's coming at you. They're getting too close. It's an extremely devastating shot, particularly if they're not expecting it. The other thing is, even if you're at an angle, if someone has grabbed you and you're off to the side, you don't have to think about getting in front of them and making it a straight shot. The palm heel can work from any angle. It can even kind of come down at an arc like this. And when I do this, I kind of rotate my hand into a more natural position. And you could test this out just by playing around shadow boxing. It would be weird to kind of hit someone this way. But if I rotate my hand at the last minute, the same way I would with a punch, I'm suddenly not hurting my arm. So if I'm doing straight shots, I just come right down the middle like that. If I cook to the side, it might be like this. But if I really go over and down, I'm kind of rotating my shoulder so that I'm not hitting at an awkward angle. But I'm allowed to hit at any angle at all. So if I want to come down on someone like this, on his eye, on his face, I just rotate my wrist and my elbow. And this might be useful if someone grabs me. They grab me around the waist and I can't generate enough power with a straight shot. I might be able to just come out and come around the side. The palm heel is a great technique if you're smaller than your attacker. So if you're just a guy with a smaller frame, or if you're a woman and you have a male attacker who's larger than you, you think, oh, how could I possibly injure this guy? A palm heel is great because you come right up under the person's chin or under the person's nose. And I'm using the leverage of the earth. I'm pushing up off the ground. I've got a lower center of gravity. So I can really put a lot of power into that and shoot up into the guy's head. And it'll rock his head back. It'll either knock him out or stun him so I can get away or follow up with additional strikes. But just being under here, if I had to face a taller guy like this, I'd say, hey man, leave me alone. Like, I'm so close to just rotating my hips and putting everything I have into that shot. So in review, the keys to practicing the palm heel are to make sure that you don't stand straight up, that you drop your body weight, you bend your knees, and you rotate your body into that shot. And when you practice it, experiment with all angles. You can come up, you can come from the side, you can come down, any angle it can work from. The palm heel is also very effective on the ground. If you manage to roll someone over and you're on top of them and you want to finish them off, a punch to the face can be dangerous because you can really injure your hand, but you can use palm heels just to hit them in the face and drive them into the ground. Extremely effective.